excel on the field and in the classroom. We appreciate everything the staff does, and we're all here today supporting them, the kids, and the entire program. Like the other parents of the team, we see the time and effort our sons put into excelling on the field and in the classroom. We see the work Coleman puts in, and we know that other kids are doing the same. The hours on the field, the hours in the gym, the time spent doing schoolwork, and the sacrifices the kids make to help them achieve their goals. Goals that drive the kids to do extra work when they don't have to. These are goals that drive the kids to work together, to support one another, to celebrate victories together, and to be there for one another during hard times. Coach Short and the entire staff has set high standards for the kids in the classroom, in the community, and on the field. They want the kids to be successful on the field, but more importantly, in life. We appreciate the long-term investment the staff is making in our children. We are here today to express our frustration with a situation that was entirely out of control of the kids and the coaching staff. I'm not here to point fingers or to assign blame. I'm here to ask for your support of the team, the staff, and the entire program. The goals that the kids have worked so hard to achieve have now been taken away from them due to circumstances beyond their control. We understand and appreciate the rules of the MHSAA, and I can speak with confidence that this coaching staff would not purposely break those rules. What happened this year could have been avoided with better policies and processes. Unfortunately, we're too late for that and can only hope significant changes are made to avoid this situation in future seasons for all sports. The ask for today, which sounds like it's going to happen, is for our school leadership to reach out to the MHSA to appeal their decision. The mistake that was made was not a malicious or egregious attempt to gain an unfair advantage on the field. As parents, Janine and I challenge our kids and like to remind them to not let doing the easy thing get in the way of doing the right thing. Today we come with the same message for our school leadership. While challenging the ruling might not be the easy thing, we feel it is the right thing to do for the kids, the staff, the program, and the school. Thank you for your time today, and we appreciate your support.
Thank you, Brad and Janine. Julina, and followed by Sean Furlong.
Hi, I am Jolena Nowler, Danny Nowler's mom. He's a senior, and finally, this past year, he realized that this will be his last season of football. So this is a big deal for my family, for him, and everyone else here. So I thank you in advance for your advocacy of our kids and doing the right thing. We are counting on you. To recap what happened this week from our perspective, we had 4 amazing games. We were undefeated. And then we got an email saying that we were forfeiting the first 2 games. And then this meeting. What was this alleged violation? What steps were taken before self-reporting? Why such swift acceptance of a penalty? Whose job was it to ensure that such violations don't happen? And does this penalty penalize the person that it should? I think we all agree that it doesn't. Your next steps, and it sounds like you're already here, you must appeal this decision. It needs to be reversed. And what Brad said goes here too. Eleanor Roosevelt said, you must do the thing you think you cannot do. If the rule needs to be changed and the right entity be held responsible in situations like this, then that's what Saline Area School should be doing right now. That's what this board needs to do. Your priority, our priority, are these boys, right here, who bust their butts day in and day out, who miss parties and family activities because they are committed. It is not right for them to be held responsible for something that was out of their control. So thank you for listening. My apologies that this meeting is held on the day. I do appreciate the expedition of this though. I think we need to move on this right away. Thank you.
Thank you, Julina. Sean Furlong, followed by Marissa.
Good evening. Appreciate you guys having us here with respect to the holiday, but I just ask the Lord for forgiveness, and He understands. So coming forward with this, it's been tough going through this. Where I work every single day, my job is to protect children every single day. All of you up here are mandated reporters, so your guys' job is to protect children as well. Mental health is real. It's a real thing. Mental health is happening in Saline High School, middle school, elementaries, and nobody's business. But mental health wasn't even thought about in the processes of this going through. Everything was so swift to judge, so swift to tell on ourselves when you really didn't have all the information. There's a lot of missing elements and pieces that we aren't aware about, maybe you're not aware about, but ultimately, why so quick to come to a conclusion about this? Saline schools are so overly infatuated about DEI, people's pronouns. Take your time with that, not this. You have an investigation going on right now for racism. We're taking our time with that. Why don't we take our time with this? It's ironic that all this has come about after allegations of racism occurred and kids were dismissed, and then all of a sudden this happens. Ironic. But ultimately, the kids are the ones that are hurt the most in this. Somebody messed up, but ultimately, quote, and I won't use names because I don't want to get in trouble, but it says the school districts have regulations, and no one is at fault in this situation. Why not? Somebody messed up, so why is nobody at fault? They're taking the blame. They're at fault. They didn't do nothing wrong. They show up, they do what they're supposed to do. Going through a lot of mental health issues right now due to the fact that he's being booted from the team, taking full responsibility for this, and that's not fair. And the school administration and the school athletic department, not including the coaches, are at fault for this. You can't just show up to a school and not have anything verified. When we moved here, we were verified. He was verified last year. He was verified to come to school this year. What happened in August? What happened in September? What happened in October? We're here now.
Thank you, Mr.
And it's very unfortunate, and my wife is giving me her 3 minutes. It's very unfortunate that we have to go through this, and our children are the victims.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for everything. I appreciate your time. But
No.
one more question. I just want one question. I have one question, Mr. Michael.
Go ahead, ask.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. One question is on our mind. Why all of a sudden the change to come in here and say, we're going to appeal this now? What made you guys decide we're going to do this? If we can have that answer tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Marissa Johnson, followed by Sandra.
Hi, my name is Marissa Johnson. I'm a mom to a junior on the team, but I'm also an attorney. And over the last week or so, I've been in regular communication with Danielle Woods. I just want to make it clear that everything I'm saying tonight, I'm saying with her permission, and I'm speaking on my own behalf. I have a number of issues with how this matter was handled, how it was reported, and the way it's been being presented to the community and the media. The statement that was issued by the administration indicated that after a full and complete investigation, a report was being made to the MHSAA. A full and complete investigation would have included Danielle being given the opportunity to present mitigating facts and documentation refuting the information the school had gathered. I can say for certain that Danielle requested that her and I be given the opportunity to meet with administration last week to present this information, and that request fell on deaf ears. While I'm not here to discuss those mitigating facts and circumstances, I do want to make it abundantly clear that a full and complete investigation was not conducted. The report that was made to the MHSAA was premature, it was untimely, and it did not include all the relevant facts. Due to this report being made mid-season, Dane, the senior class, the new coaching staff, and the entire varsity team are being made to suffer the consequences of this failure. Saline wants to position itself as being one of the top, if not the top, athletic and academic schools in the state. In order to continue to maintain that level of status, it is imperative that the school have an athletic department and administration that supports its student athletes, the coaching staff across the board, and is always acting in a way that's keeping the best interests of our students in the forefront. The lack of accountability, the blame shifting, the narrative that is being played out are the exact opposite of what we should want to stand for in this community. These kids are not cheaters. These coaches are not cheaters. They earned their undefeated record through hard work and dedication, which has now been stripped from them in a humiliating fashion. My hope is that the board takes the appropriate actions to ensure that accountability lands where it should land, rather than in the laps of our children. I think I can speak for all of us when I say that we intend to see this through. Thank you.
Tammy Carr is coming up. Candace Jones is following.
Good evening. My name is Tammy Carr. My son Tommy is a junior on the team. I appreciate the chance to share my thoughts on the current situation. As most of you know, we are a football family. To us, football is more than just a game. It's a sport that teaches student athletes about teamwork, leadership, resilience, and sometimes provides a chance for future opportunities in college and beyond. This is why I believe the athletic director position is such an important job within a school system. As my father-in-law said to me, when you hire an athletic director, you're hiring at least 10 people. Beyond the daily tasks, the AD is responsible for building a culture, choosing and supporting their coaches, and most importantly, in my opinion, protecting and advocating for their student athletes. In my opinion, our current athletic director has failed and is responsible for the situation we find ourselves in today. Mistakes were made. Athletic director when high school athletes transferred in, passed over 2 years ago. Errors were made by our AD early this season that would have resulted in needing to forfeit the first football game, and that isn't even involved in what we're talking about today. That was a different mistake that I don't know that you guys have been informed about at all. That was an error. This is not an isolated incident. In addition, escalating things to the MHSAA so quickly and during the season, this is not what someone does when they're advocating for their student athletes or honestly when they know what they're doing. I spoke to a couple of seasoned athletic directors about this current situation and about self-reporting to MHSAA during a season, which, by the way, is a body that has nobody governing their actions and is not a public entity. I was told by all of them that you better make sure you fully investigate it before making that move because it would impact so many kids. I'm not saying you don't self-report, but you take more than a week to investigate before making this move and doing such damage to a program and to the kids who had nothing to do with the mistakes that were made. The athletic directors I spoke to said that they would have investigated fully, and if warranted, a full investigation would be elevated to MHSAA after the season, which would have allowed student athletes to continue playing while not impacting their chances for playoff participation and or producing college film. This is very important to some of the kids that are on this team and will provide for their future, and I do not think that was taken into consideration. The parent in this current situation did not even have an opportunity to meet with the athletic director and superintendent before they escalated this to the MHSAA. How is that investigating fully? That is throwing your athletes and this family under the bus. These top athletic programs in the state and these student athletes and coaches deserve a leader who knows the rules and who is their advocate. Someone who's done this before and who is not learning on the job. I'm sorry, but our athletic director is in over her head. She's made multiple mistakes over the past 3 years, and those mistakes have negatively impacted many student athletes. And this goes well beyond football, which you've already heard tonight. In addition, a superintendent should not have to be involved this much with athletics. And I would assume that there are plenty of other issues our superintendent would rather be focused on. But he has no choice, because we do not have someone at the helm of the athletic department who has the experience
Thank you
to
for your
lead.
time, I appreciate you.
The actions of this athletic director have taken opportunities away from this kid, and for one man at least has changed the trajectory of his future.
Ms. Jones is next.
You say, Saline, that we're student-centered and student-focused. Well, I'm asking you find a way that these students are not punished for someone else's mistake. They deserve better. They deserve an athletic director who is working for them, not against them.
Previously served on the school board and worked with several of you directly. I want to get to specifics. I was really glad to hear that you all have made the decision to pursue an appeal. And part of my comments tonight are about specifics around how we can make that happen. And within the timeline that is before the season is over. So I'm just going to read my comments and then hopefully I'll have a little bit of time. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to address you regarding the MHSAA ruling that has resulted in the forfeiture of 3 of our football team's victories. While it is essential to respect the role that rules and regulations play in ensuring fairness in sports, I'm deeply concerned that this matter was not brought before the MHSAA Executive Committee in consideration for a waiver in time for their meeting, which took place earlier today. Their next meeting takes place in November. This situation stems from a significant administrative oversight regarding the confirmation of residency for one of our student athletes. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, I want to make sure. It is essential to emphasize that this oversight is not the fault of players or current coaching staff who operated under the assumption that all procedures have been followed correctly. To now penalize the entire team for something outside of their control feels unjust. According to MHSAA Regulation 5, Section 4B, found on page 103 of the MHSAA handbook, any contest in which an ineligible player participates must be forfeited. While we respect this rule, I would like to emphasize that the MHSAA Executive Committee has the discretion to consider waivers on a case-by-case basis. As noted in their most recent notes, which are from September 5th, 2024, the Executive Committee minutes, which I'm going to provide to Secretary Miller for your review as a board after this meeting. It shares examples of many cases within districts, some of which are similar to the hardships that this family may have experienced that could provide an exception to the residency requirement. So I would really like for this board to consider what those exceptions are, thank you, and to review that information and to submit an appeal. Also in this information that I'm going to share with you, I have outlined clear next steps for how you can make this happen right away, before the season is over. One of those next steps is to make sure that you review the handbook, and I've cited the specific areas that you should take a look at. Submitting an appeal, and the appeal has to be submitted by the athletic director, principal, or superintendent. Submitting this immediately and requesting a special meeting of the executive committee so that they can review this information before the season is over. I'm going to provide my documents to Secretary Miller so that the board can review them.
Thank you. We're looking forward to getting this. We do appreciate it when you stick to the 3 minutes. I greatly appreciate that. Rushdie Isa, followed by Vanessa Keys.
How you doing? My name is Rushdie Isa. My son is a sophomore that enrolled into Saline this summer. And when we enrolled into Saline, one of the biggest things is we wanted to make sure we do everything by the right way. So we communicated with the AD strictly by email, and I went into the office, trying to make sure, hey, are we good? And what Tammy Carr was talking about, the incident, that's actually us. So one of the things we did is we communicated, we gave her what she requested, what she needed to make sure everything was valid for my son to step on the field. And then once we got the okay going into the season, a couple of days before, we got the okay to go ahead and practice. And then a couple of days later, we got the okay to clear it for him to play. Now, after we played a few games, I get an email from the AD stating that what I turned in was not good enough. And, you know, as I come into this community new and moving into this community new, I want to make sure I do everything the right way because I don't want anything, a black mark on my family or anything on my son. So we made sure we did everything by the T. Got a phone call from the AD telling us, hey, it's not the right documents. We go back and forth saying, what are you talking about? I gave you everything you needed, we cleared you. Then to come find out that we might have to forfeit the first game because my son, that's tough as a new family, as a new member to the community. I know for a fact, myself and Coach Schultz have called her to make sure he got cleared before the first game. And we both got the answer that he was. And then is that I wish we had, if the AD came and told me, hey, you gotta sit out a couple of games because we want to make sure your son is ready and eligible. We don't want to make sure that we get caught. I'm a former coach. I know exactly what that means. Now, I've sat kids out because of eligibility about moving and stuff like that. I coached for 16 years under MHSA. So to see this happen was tough. What I would like to see is better communication. We need to see better communication. And it was tough for me to hear that. And I understand what the family is going through because, to be honest, I'm going through it too right now because I feel like it's part of my fault when it's not. It's the communication that we received. And it was not fair to us or to what the family that's going through right now. And I urge you guys, please look into this matter because I don't want this to happen to another kid. It's not fair at all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. The next case on deck is Stephen. Please,
Hi, my name is Vanessa Keys. I have a junior and a Keys on the team. This is my husband, Matt. Meeting so quickly. Thank you to the players and coaches for their resilience during the football season filled with racism, negativity, rumors, all without the support of an AD that's supposed to be there for you. I'm sorry that you guys have to be here before a game day. This is not your fault. Dane, this is not your fault. Danielle, this is not your fault. And I'm sorry. Our AD, and this is what I'll be talking about today, are just the questions I have about our AD and the history that I know of about our AD, just from our perspective. The biggest glaring piece of information tonight is that I've heard that our AD is on vacation while our football program is imploding. That is glaring. What is our AD's experience other than a golf coach and a teacher? We're one of the best athletic schools in the state. I would love to, I've looked at her LinkedIn profile, I would love to know what her qualifications are. When the investigation started, we were told it was because there was a piece of mail that bounced back to Danielle. I've never received mail from Saline schools, not once ever. I've talked to many other parents who also have not received mail from Saline schools. The only mail we've ever received from Saline schools is from the foundation. Can this be explained? Why did this happen mid-season and not a year and a half ago? They found housing. They got it within 7 days. That was the request. They came to Saline and said, we don't have anywhere to live. Saline said, you guys have 7 days. I'm just curious, how are we ethical? How is that ethical to tell a family that they have 7 days? I would think that you guys would say, hey, let's talk to Saline Social Services. We'll put you in touch with someone. We're here to help you. We're Saline. We're an ethical community. That's what the statement that came out, that's what it said, right? That we're ethical. That is our AD's job. There's no apology to this team about what's happening from our AD. My son, who has at least 30 offers to colleges right now, doesn't even know who our AD is. She's supposed to be for the student athlete, right? I don't know if any of the boys know who she is. She comes to games and stands there. I want to know where the support is, and we need your support today. Thank you.
Followed by Danielle. Steven.
Hello, I'm Steven Tyson. I'm Ian's older brother, and I'm partially representing my dad today. He can't be here for work reasons. Our first question already got answered about the appeal you guys are going through. It seems late, that's all right. His primary concerns were with how this happened in the first place and how you guys plan on preventing it from happening again. He wasn't able to figure out online how any of this process works. I mean, you guys have explained it somewhat, so I understand it better now. But he's very concerned about the fact that this was able to even happen in the first place. This seems like a very glaring oversight. And then, as an extension of that, the previous people talked about ethics, and your own student athlete handbook preaches a lot of values like responsibility and accountability. And we were both wondering, will the board and the athletic director be held to those same values that we're trying to set for our students? And then going off of what he was saying and onto my own stuff, this seems like an adult problem. And it really just seems like the only people suffering right now are the kids. My brother, he's the youngest brother, we picked on him a lot. But you know, all this year he's been football. This is his first year. I mean, I watched him grow. He's in such great shape. He could probably beat the shit out of me now. But I've seen him put so much love and effort into this sport. I mean, last night I came home for dinner and we went on a walk together and we talked for like an hour about football. That's all he talks about now. And I've watched him pour his heart and soul into this. And to see him hurt because of the actions of an adult, and then to hear stuff about said person, and it sounds like they're not even really dealing with any of this. And the fact that this could happen to somebody else, it all seems so incredibly unfair to the kids. And I just really hope you guys hold each other and the person involved in this to the standard that they should be held to, and try to do right for these kids, and hopefully get them their season back. Thank you.
Danielle, followed by Megan
The most common way people can give up their power is thinking they don't have any. Alice Walker. I first want to say it saddens me to say these words because I do not think all people are racist in Saline. The actions of the ones in power are though. Family and friends asked me why I sent him to the white school. And I used to be able to say, they are good today. Not anymore. Now I can't quite say that. Not all, but the important ones. Shout out to Ms. Neeb. You were the best. The relationship dang, you would not know this because you refused to meet with, to have any kind of conversation with me. But I wrote down every conversation, saved every text, and this will not silence me. I'm a black woman, a black mother that would move heaven and hell for Kari, Dane, Maddie, and Mimi. I greatly believe the actions or lack of actions by administration was driven by race. I did not hear from the superintendent when it came to my son being a direct part of the racist assault on the football team, where I had to pick up my son and told him to go out there and prove how black was beautiful and great. I truly believe if the color of my skin was different and my bank account looked like yours, Steve, you would have gave me the time of day. Instead of Steve hearing from me, in the words of my youngest, he spit me. When I got tired and filed a complaint with the board, you used retaliation by contacting the MHSAA without getting my side. I'm not going back and forth with anyone. I truly believe God has a purpose. Dave's been getting calls to maybe attend prep school, but he wants to finish out a Hornet. I'm asking for the board to direct Ashley Mantham to file a challenge to the MHSAA ruling so I be allowed to use my own representation to present the facts. Also, open an investigation of the racial bias towards my family and action be taken. Thank you. Have a great night.
After Megan is Matt Keys.
Timer. I just have one question. Given the heightened emotion regarding this situation and the other one presented tonight, I want to publicly ask that there be an independent investigation of all of this, not an internal one. Transparency has been an issue with this district for a couple of years. I feel like you investigating yourselves and coming up with something is just not going to sit well at all. Thank you.
He's followed by Nathan, who's going to be our anchor.
My wife already got an opportunity to talk, and I really appreciate that. But I would just like to say thank you to the football team for showing up here and supporting Dane and the whole entire community for being so strong.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, Tim. I'm Nate. Susan, I'm Nate. Jenny, I'm Nate. Hi, Steve. We haven't met. I'm Nate. Michael, how are you? Jennifer, and Brad. Jenny, I gotta ask you a question. Do you trust me? The time? I've got my clock right here. I'm gonna put it 3 minutes, but I'm starting. So the first thing I want to ask you. Okay, so the first thing I want to ask, we're gonna shift gears a little bit. Would you all be willing to come out in front of your desks for 80 seconds? No? Yes?
I'd rather not. We just want to hear what you have to say.
Okay. I'd like the football team. I think it's important to put a name with a face. I'd like the football players to all stand up and just come up here and say hello to these people. Shake their hands and introduce yourselves for 80 seconds. Moving along, guys. At 80 seconds, we'll score 2 touchdowns.
Hey, you better watch this, you know, like, I'm telling you, like, I got me all nervous, well, you're nervous, I am. Alright, Bringer.
Well, they're finishing up. I'm going to hand the board members just a quick piece of paper. I think it's important for you guys to meet these football players. When I go down the field after the game and you stand up face to face, it's awesome. And this is just an incredible group of kids. We've only been here for 6 months, and it's changed our sons' lives. So everybody in the crowd wants to probably know what's on this sheet of paper. Can you just, 2 or 3 of you mention what's on the front? What's it say?
80 days.
80 days. That's the number of days that these kids committed to playing football this summer, day in and day out. Steve, could you tell me what's on the back of the page? Can you say that again so we can all hear it? Jenny, does yours say the same thing?
Yes.
I think it's very important for you guys to put a name with a face. You guys are the ones that are going to lead the fight for this group of kids, and you're the champions for them. So let's be accountable to this group of kids, and let's kick some tail tomorrow night. See you all at the stadium.
I'd like to wrap this up with, that was our last one. Nate, what a barnstormer. Okay. I would just like to make a quick closing statement. I want to thank everybody, the football team, the parents, the supporters, boosters. We can't comment on any things that happened in our discussions during the closed session, and we don't comment on the public comments. But we will make a statement during the next meeting, which is October 8th, 2024. It will be recorded, it will be streamed, it's a regular board meeting. And I suspect there will also be opportunities to speak then as well. Appreciate your time, and we really do. We appreciate the feedback greatly. So thank you so much for coming tonight. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:51.
So moved.
Brad Gerby.
Support 7.
7 support. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none. 6-0. Thank you very much, Mr. President.